Hello everyone, BrainScratch is back. Welcome to Searchlight. I am John Lorden, and today we're going to look into two cases. These cases are really challenging because there's not a lot of information released about them. So that's why I wanted to combine them together. In one instance, the case was referred to me by someone that just lives close in the area. That is the first case we're going to be looking at here, the case of Vicki, it's either Gatlin or Gatlin. And in the second case, I was actually contacted by the sister of the missing person. And after we go through the cases, I'm going to also point you guys towards a resource that I found that has a lot, I mean, it's practically like a checklist of what you should do if someone that you love goes missing. It's a very, very good resource, and we'll talk more about that. But let's go ahead and get started with our first case here. So this one is out of Louisiana. We have the New Orleans Police Department looking for a missing woman. This article is posted at IHaveVanished.com, but it looks like it came from KSLA News. And what's extremely challenging about this case is I found probably 7 different articles, a few of them from different news organizations, and essentially all that they're doing is reposting what the police said in a press release, which leads us to a different question a bit later, but let's see what we have here. New Orleans police ask for your help to find Vicki Gatlin, 46. She was last seen on November 9th, that's 2015, leaving her home in the 7,000 block of Lawrence Road. Investigators say they were told Gatlin said she was going on a second date with an unidentified person she met on a social media website. And this is the picture that I've seen in all of the releases pretty much. I'm not sure how recent or current this is. I did go looking on just a quick Facebook search. I believe this is also the same Vicki. It's kind of hard to tell because she's pretty made up in these pictures here, but I'm like 95% sure that this is her. So in the links below, you will also find a link to her Facebook page. If you can do some more digging there, let us know what you find in the comments. I'd really appreciate it. But from what I can tell, it looks like she is in the bartending field and event planning, and looks like she used to live in Mississippi. I'm not sure if her Facebook has not been updated in a while. But something that struck me here is just the About Vicki section. I'm afraid we'll have to wait for the book to come out. However, I've decided that my mother was wrong. I just may be able to save a little piece of the world, and I plan to try. And that really resonates with me strongly, because I feel like exactly me doing these videos is me trying to do the same thing. If there's something I can do to help this world be a better place, even if it's something really small, I want to do it. And it seems like that was part of Vicki's spirit. So let's take a look at the press release that the New Orleans Police Department released. November 12th, 2015, the NOPD is asking for the public's assistance in locating 46-year-old Vicki Gatlin, who was last seen November 9th, 2015, leaving her home located in the 7,000 block of Lawrence Road. Sound familiar? That's what I mean. The reporting person stated that Vicki Gatlin advised her that she was going on a second date with an unidentified subject she met on a social media website. The reporting person stated Gatlin left in her 1994 black Buick Regal with light-tinted windows and unknown license plate. Vicki Gatlin has not been seen or heard from since. Gatlin was observed wearing a pink long-sleeve shirt and blue jeans, and they've included a photograph of Vicki and contact information. Of course, I have the contact information in the description box below if you know anything about where Vicki might be. Few things about this press release I find very curious. First of all, it does state that Vicki left in her own 1994 black Buick Regal. So why they wouldn't know the license plate doesn't seem to make a lot of sense to me, unless, you know, she had bought this car privately and hadn't registered it in her own name or something along those lines. It seems kind of weird. How would you not, even if she did, purchase it, you have to send in the title change, and that should at least give them a way to backtrace it to find out what the most recent license plate on it was. But I know it works different in some states. Like California, the license plate kind of stays with the car. From what I understand, out here in Minnesota, the license plate is more attached to the driver's record. But regardless, I'm pretty sure there was some way to backtrace this car to figure out what its previous license plate was. Maybe they don't want to release that information because they know it's not solid info and the plates have been changed or something, but very, very curious. The other thing that strikes me is this is a second date, and she had met this person, according to this statement, on social media. That stuff should be very, very traceable. If nothing, at a minimum, the police should know the account that she was corresponding with. Now, it might be that the person hid their identity in terms of behind that account. Maybe all the information is bad. But it shouldn't be too hard for them to at least look into her social media records, see that she was talking to someone, they were talking about getting together for a second time. Maybe she did a lot of dating, so maybe it's kind of difficult for them to sort through, but that's a pretty specific instance. And you know, for me personally, when I'm getting into a relationship, when you're talking to the person, setting up your first date, you might have, you know, a few communications. But if you get from first date to second date, there's probably a good little stream of communication going on in there. Oh, I had a great time when we first got together. Can't wait to do it again. There should be some back and forth communication there. So I'm really uncertain why this case has now been sitting for, 7 or 8 months. And there is literally no news on it, no updates on it whatsoever. So we have very weak information to start with. We have a 1994 Buick, which I actually did a search on some of these, and we don't even know, is the Buick she has, is it a 2-door coupe? Is it a 4-door? There's a couple different models that came out that year, but it should look something like this, a black 1994 Buick Regal. I'm just not sure if it's a 2-door or a 4-door, but this is what I mean. This one is very, very frustrating to me because it feels like there's no one outside of maybe a neighbor or a friend of hers that noticed she went missing. There doesn't seem to be a good quarterback for pulling this investigation through and making sure people are trying to work on this case, which is very, very important in these cases. I've spoken to many people that become kind of the designated quarterback, the go-to person. They're the main contact for the authorities to talk to. Family kind of routes all of their concerns through them. It's a very tough job, from what I understand, for people to have to deal with. It is practically a full-time job. There's a lot that has to be handled when someone goes missing like this. And in Vicki's case, it just, I don't know. I don't know if there's no family there, but I am amazed. Even on Twitter, I did a quick search for her, just to see if anyone's been talking about her. And I do see that this person, Jerry Dean, who runs a missing person blog and also tweets out about them regularly, she did cover the case back in November 2015. I literally see 3 listings about this case. One of them turns into an ad for finding Russian brides, which I find ridiculous. And the other one has another brief synopsis, which is essentially just the press report from the police again. So my questions on this case are, where's the info from the New Orleans Police Department? I mean, if you really want to find this person, you have to have some better info than, it's a 1994 black Buick, we don't know the plate, we're not going to tell you what specific model it is. How is anyone going to find that car? It's going to be practically impossible. I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of black 1994 Buicks, especially between those 2 models. And where is the footwork going on to determine, hey, we know that this person, she met him on Facebook in particular, we know that it was this account name in particular. There's no details like that shaking out around this. There is no details shaking out around this at all. And all of that leads me to wonder, would this be happening if we were talking about a 22-year-old blonde girl that went missing from, a party town somewhere or something like that? No. The coverage would be completely different. And it's a shame. It's a shame that not one of these news agencies that have resources and hopefully reporters to dig into stuff like this found out even who filed the missing persons report and went and interviewed them and maybe got some more detail out of them. There is just a total lack of detail here. So that's why I'm wrapping up this edition by pointing all of you towards a resource about what you should be doing if you're faced with this missing person case in your own life, and why someone has to be the quarterback for the family. Someone has to take on that responsibility. It's a horrible thing to ask. It is a ton of work and stress and worry, but if no one does it, things can just fall through the cracks. If no one seems interested, this is kind of what happens. I went looking in the NAMUS database for her. She's not even posted in the NAMUS database. So once again, I don't know if this is a police department that doesn't know about this national database for missing people and just hasn't filed the information in there yet. I really have no idea. In slight good news, if you remember the Morton Egeltinger episode that I had done, where I went and actually entered Morton myself, I was able to see that they did indeed add his record, so now he finally has a profile on the NAMUS database, which I'm very, very happy to report. It looks like they reached out to law enforcement because they do have a DNA sample submitted. I'm really happy to have made that happen in that case. Unfortunately, in this case, we don't even have enough vital statistics. I couldn't even create a record for this woman if I wanted to in that NAMUS database. I don't know her height, I don't know her weight, we don't know what color her hair is at this point. All we know is that we're 2 pieces of clothing and a car that is unidentified. Just amazingly frustrating. But regardless, if it's frustrating or not, Vicki is missing and she deserves to be found. I can't imagine, I mean, this is kind of a little bit of a nightmare situation come true. You know, you meet someone online, you even go out with them once, and some people would already think that that's risky in its own way. You go out with them once, you feel a little bit safer, you go out with them twice, and then you disappear. So I did see some commentary about this case, and just that people need to be very safe in these situations. All it takes is for you to make sure you tell a friend where you're going, where you're going to meet that person, maybe give that person's contact information to that friend. Always make some little backup of where, especially if this is the first time you're meeting someone, but in this case we have to say even if it's the second time, make sure you keep a friend in the loop if you're dealing with someone online and trying to bring them into your life, because these things don't always go very well, and this case definitely points towards that. So let's take a look at the second case we're going to cover today. For this one, we are jumping up to Canada in the British Columbia area, and from the first article we see here on vancouverisland.ctvnews.ca, quote, "We need to know. Family makes tearful plea for missing Courtenay man." This is a picture of Willem Rennie, 24, and you just see the tip of a child there. I believe it is likely his son. His son has just turned 1, and his father is now missing. So let's take a look at some of the details. Willem Rennie, 24, went missing on April 19th. That's April 19th, 2016. So we're looking at just a couple months ago now. It's unknown whether something happened to Rennie or whether he went missing on purpose. Quote, "If you have any information on his whereabouts or have seen him or heard of his plans of what he was going to do, maybe you saw him hitchhiking somewhere, we're just extremely worried about him," his sister Hannah Rennie said in a tearful statement Wednesday. And Hannah is the one that contacted me directly asking for us to profile him on Searchlight. She seems very frustrated. You know, there's this lull that kind of happens in investigations like this sometimes, where sometimes law enforcement isn't communicating a whole lot back to that person, the quarterback that I keep mentioning. So there could be a lot of tension that starts to fester in that type of situation. I hope that Hannah is coping with that okay, and hopefully we can just bring some more exposure to his case here. Willem was supposed to meet up with a former girlfriend at the Courtenay Fairgrounds last Tuesday at noon, but she showed up late. I went searching for Courtenay Fairgrounds. I think they're actually called the Comox Valley Fairgrounds. I didn't see any Courtenay Fairgrounds in particular, and I've seen it in several news articles, so I'm not sure I don't know if it's maybe known by both, or I'm not sure where that, it seems to be a misstatement started, but it's definitely being carried from article to article. When she got there, he wasn't there, and she looked around for him and couldn't find him, Hannah said. I don't think they saw each other, but he wasn't there when she got there. A search conducted at the fairgrounds and other locations by RCMP and Comox Valley Ground Search and Rescue turned up nothing. Willem is described as 5'6", 130 pounds, with blue eyes, blonde hair, and a medium build. He has a 1-year-old son who celebrated his first birthday just 2 days before Willem disappeared. So let's just take a look at a map real quick so you can get a sense. Here we've got the United States of America down here, and just above our border on Vancouver Island, we see the Comox Valley Exhibition Fairgrounds. And I couldn't even find a website for them. I found a lot of websites referring to events that happened there, but I couldn't even find a specific website for the fairgrounds. I was hoping that I could backtrace it and see what type of event was going on that weekend. I've sent some questions to his sister. I haven't heard back yet, so if I do get a good amount of information, I will certainly do a follow-up episode where we can go into the details a little bit more about this case. We do have a few more pieces to shake out, though. She has put together a website at facebook.com, Find Willem Rennie, and there is a post there with some additional details. My brother, Willem Rennie, has been missing for 8 weeks. He was last seen April 19th. His truck was found abandoned at the Comox Valley Fairgrounds when he failed to meet up with a friend that he had planned to meet at noon. Willem is 25, has blonde hair, a wiry build, and blue eyes. He usually wears sunglasses and/or a hat. Willem's truck is a blue-black 1999 Chevy 3500 crew cab pickup. That was actually found at the fairgrounds. And one of the questions I have out to Hannah, which I haven't heard back yet, is I don't know if there was public parking at the fairgrounds, if you had to pay for parking. Did he have, basically I'm trying to find out, did he have to interact with anyone at that point, and has that person been questioned yet? But I haven't heard back. But they did find his truck. Willem leaving his truck down at the fairgrounds is really out of character for him, as is leaving and not contacting any family members or friends. Please, if you notice him down there on that date, perhaps in his own vehicle or maybe in another person's vehicle, let the RCMP know. Someone knows something, please come forward. She has contact information for the RCMP, which I will include in the description box below. Willem purchased Tim Hortons that morning around 11:50 a.m. and then went to the Shell gas station around 12:10 p.m. at the bottom of Mission Hill. There was about 20 minutes in between those two video footage clips of him. Where did he go in those 20 minutes? It's hard to know exactly what's going on here without some firmer details, but we do know from Tim Hortons to the Shell station, 20-minute gap in between, not quite explained, and they have footage of him at those two locations. From there, the truck makes it to the fairgrounds, and he disappears. From what I recall from her original email to me, his cell phone has not been active, and I believe his items, his personal effects, were with him. I don't think they found, like, his wallet in the truck and his keys in the truck. I believe those items are still with him. So a while after this news story cracked, the press kind of got hold of some new information and started reporting. New information shows that a Comox man missing for the past week was scheduled to appear in court 2 days after he was last seen. Court records show that on March 29th, Willem Rennie was charged with assault, mischief, and resisting or obstructing a police officer. He was scheduled to appear in court on April 21st, 2 days after he was reportedly last seen. Now, the way that's phrased, I don't know if he assaulted a police officer. It's saying that he was charged with assault, mischief, and resisting or obstructing a police officer. I can tell you that the actual URL title for this story is "Man Assaulted Police Officer Prior to Disappearance." I haven't seen information that says that he actually did assault a police officer. The family actually hit the press with their own response, a letter to the editor here at the Comox Valley Record. Rennie family not happy with some media. Dear editor, as the family of Willem Rennie, we would like to thank the RCMP, the volunteers at Search and Rescue, and all the friends and others who have done their own searches and helped out in other ways. We also appreciated the media's work in getting the word out On the other hand, whether on purpose or by casual inattention, we are saddened by some of the media's one-dimensional reporting that is counter to everyone else's efforts of bring Willem home safely. Although Willem recently had an incident that involved the RCMP as reported, it is not on the scale that readers might have been led to believe, and we certainly question if it is the reason why he is missing. As we have seen many times, a person who stands accused is prejudged prior to all of the facts being tabled. We would ask those who know Willem to realize that the full story is more complex and nuanced than is stated in the media. Thanks again to the RCMP, search and rescue volunteers, and everyone else working hard to find him and bring him home safe. So family definitely a little upset at how the media was treating that information. I mean, they had the basic charges, but they have no information in terms of the details of those charges. And that is a big part of the story when you're trying to show that information or leverage it to help people think maybe this guy's running away from the law. I mean, just as easy for some of us to consider is maybe the RCMP isn't working very hard on this case because, oh look, this guy roughed up one of our officers before. If you stretch that even further, we have had cases on BrainScratch before where it looks like there is potential that law enforcement abuses their position. And is that something that could be possibly happening with the RCMP in Canada? I would like to hope not, but in a case where someone's missing, I think you really have to consider all angles and take a look at that. So, did Willem run off on his own without his truck? Took his cell phone but decided not to use it for some reason? I don't know. It seems to me, it feels like maybe he was meeting up with someone, maybe they were going with him to the fairgrounds. Maybe he got in their car after he got there so they could go somewhere else and something went wrong or off about that. I really don't know enough about his backstory yet, but like I said, I've got a message out to Hannah. If I get more details back, I will certainly update all of you on this, and I'd love to update you with, hey, he's been found, but as of me searching around today, I have not seen information on that. This is another one of those cases where there's a decent amount of media coverage on it, but it seems to be fading very, very quickly. So I would appreciate it if all of you, if you just take a moment, think about people that you know that are in the British Columbia area, please share this information with them. Let's get his image out there. Here we go. And hopefully we can help Hannah figure out what happened to her brother, Willem. So, before I let you go, the one really big resource that I found, typically when I'm contacted by family members, they will sometimes ask, what else can I be doing? What should I be doing? And I did some digging this morning. I just wanted to try to find a website that had good ideas about how to handle going through this. And you'd be very surprised. I found several websites that essentially said that that's what they were. Here's what to do if you have a person go missing. And you go to those websites and it's like one page and it talks about 5 different tips or something like that. Many of them are not comprehensive at all. But I did bump into missingpersonshelp.org. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst, and never give up. The thing that's really special about this page is it is written by someone that went through this. Their parents went missing. He essentially had to become the quarterback, and not only did he put together a system here that is a very good structure for other people to follow that might be in this, they did eventually solve the case of what happened to his parents. Unfortunately, they were murdered. It's a very sad story, but you can come here and check out the details for yourself. Outside of that, there are many great steps. You can see here with the tab on the left, he's got them broken out to about 9 different steps, and let's just jump through some of them. I like this, and I noticed this on a few different pages when I was looking this up. Pray and meditate is step 1. Have you ever been on an airplane and they talk about if the oxygen masks deploy that you have to put it on yourself before you put it on any children that you're with? There's a reason for that mentality that's very important. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're probably not going to be able to help the other person or help them for very long. So, and in this case, when someone goes missing, you don't know if it's going to be a day that they're missing, a week that they're missing, a month, a year, or longer. So it's very important that you get in touch with some basis of faith. And for everyone, that's not going to be church related. For some people, that might be that they have to get in touch with the universe in their own special way through meditation. I like that's why they said pray or meditate. But it's different for everyone out there. But whatever it is for you, if you're in this case, find it. Every time I talk to someone that is dealing with this, I try to encourage them to take those moments whenever they can, make sure that they're keeping themselves healthy, because as healthy as they can, because this is definitely going to be a trying time. Get a notebook and pen, as you need to record everything you can. Just a great tip. And it's weird because there's so many hats that you have to wear if you're dealing with this. One of them is you have to become a bit of an investigator yourself, because you might have access to people and information that the authorities might not even know about yet. So taking very good records, understanding what you need to share with the authorities, and doing that in a timely manner seems to be very, very important, and I think can help impact these cases a lot. Determine if they are truly missing. Once again, I just love how he goes through the steps here. Call their phone at home, call their phone at work, make sure they haven't left a message somewhere that they went on vacation or something like that. Go check on them for yourself. If you do go to the house, when you open the front door, be sure to just use your thumb and your index finger. Don't use your whole hand on the knob, because you could be wiping away prints that they might need later. Don't touch anything when you're inside the house. There are so many very, very good tips here. The one thing that I'm not positive I saw on here was NAMUS. You want to be sure to get people into that system, because not only does it have people that are missing, it also catalogs people that are unidentified. And if there's DNA results on both ends of that, I believe, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe that they're able to match that up really easily if you have both those records in the same system. Even if that's not the case, I do know where there's websites where essentially you can bring up a missing person on one side, John Doe's on the other, and people do this. They go through it trying to figure out, is this missing person? So it's very important to get your missing person into NAMUS. Do whatever it takes. They also talk about making sure that the police report is filed, and sometimes, in some cases, you might have to file more than one to get them to start acting. There's a lot of different things you can face here, and this website is excellent. I'm so happy I found it, because anytime I'm contacted by someone that's faced with this, I'm going to shoot them a link right to this website. It is chock full of good ideas through someone that went through it, and so far it's the most comprehensive one I've seen. So if you have seen others you think rival this or even better than it, please do all of us a favor. Send that information to me so I can check it out. I can publicize it in a future Searchlight, and I can help get it to the people that really might need it, the people that contact me directly. So that is it for this edition of BrainScratch Searchlight. Thank you all very much for joining me. I really appreciate you being here. Please remember, this only works if we share this information in the appropriate areas, try to get more eyes on these photos, and maybe we can help bring one of these people home. That's still my biggest dream, and I'm pretty confident it's going to happen. I got to keep my hope up just like these people do. Have a great day, everyone. I'll catch you on the next show on the Geek and Dorks channel.